Hello, I'm David Hunt and welcome to today's show. The art of cake decorating, and believe me, it's such an art form these days, I know you'll all agree, but let's start with a bit of a history. Those amazing Egyptians, they were taught by the Babylonians how to make a cake. They didn't know how to make it, but then the Egyptians, being so clever, would do strips around it where they would hand paint the strips for a special occasion around the side of the cake. Fascinating. The Romans, they introduced cakes as wedding cakes, and that would be the traditional fruit cake as we know. Then moving over to England, Queen Victoria and her children, they took it to another level where with the invention of icing sugar, and they would make cakes that would stand, I'm going to go old school in height, 6 foot high, because that's what they wanted to do, be flamboyant, and they would then give the cake to the people out in the street and whatever. Today's cakes are used to celebrate almost any occasion, as we know, and that they have ended up being a true art form. And this man here is an artist in his own right, making cakes. Froggy, hello and welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, where are you from? What country did you come from?
So, I'm born in Malaysia.
Right.
So I came to Australia in 2008.
Right.
August
Did you come with family or did you come by yourself?
No, I come by myself. So I came here to study.
Right. Okay.
And I actually graduated as a civil engineer.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my gosh! What a difference. Although engineering you could use in cake.
I did. I always say to people, I use my engineering skill to build the cake because if the cake is 3 tiers or 4 tiers, you need to make sure the structure is right.
Yep.
Otherwise, it just crumble.
Yeah, exactly. So you did civil engineering. So what made you go off in a totally different direction? Was it just a discovery of a love for it?
Yeah. So back home, our dessert are really different to Western dessert. So it's more like a small cakey stuff, and they're more like rice pudding or coconut-based kind of dessert, and they're not really fancy. They're delicious, like absolutely delicious. So when I came to Australia, I remember my first partner my Gary, he taught me how to make Christmas shortbread cookies, and that is, I think, the first time I actually like using icing sugar and decorate cookies, and I was like, this is actually fun, and I started learning, doing different recipes and stuff like that, and go to classes, and I realized that I think this is something that I want to do.
Right.
So yeah. So
you didn't follow your career at all?
No, I didn't. So after graduate, there's a bit hard time for me to find a job at the beginning. I think first of all, English is not my first language, and for a professional field that require you speak quite fluent English, and that is kind of a shame, but also, now I more accept, this is actually I born to do this because I really do enjoy what I'm doing, and for me, baking is kind of therapeutic for me as well. Like I feel like I'm in my space. It's my safe space. I can just spend hours and hours in the kitchen, not complaining really. Yeah.
So what did your parents think when all of a sudden you didn't follow they wouldn't have been happy, would they?
My dad probably not, because I think, like most of the Asian, your parents want you to become a doctor, a lawyer, literally like anything that is their definition of success. But I think I remember one time my mom said to me, before I choose what I want to study, she said to me that, "Are you sure you want to become an engineer?"
Oh.
Yeah, because you're always kind of a bit creative. And I didn't really take it serious that time because I was 18, going to uni, follow, whatever everybody else trying to, get through the life, like choose what you want to study. So I think after when I'm a bit more mature, I realized that, you know, I do have, I won't say a talent, but I love what I'm doing. I think I'm willing to spend time to learn more about this, because I always say everybody can bake. Like,
No,
yeah, it is.
No. I'm actually quite a good cook,
Yeah.
but not interested in baking at all. So therefore, I don't know how to bake because I've never done it.
It's really, you need to follow the recipe. It's the formula. As long as you stick to the formula, and you have to have patience.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people tend to don't have a patience. That's why.
But the formula thing is, which, you know, like that's part of your engineering as well. You know, formulas is, and you've got to be quite rigid in cake making, don't you, with the formula?
Yeah, 100%. So I remember used to blog kind of a thing. You know, people write blog. And like write recipe and stuff like that, and you actually can find really good recipe from them because they actually experience them. They make them. But nowadays there's so many recipe online, and I try quite a lot of them, and they tend to not turn out quite well. Yeah, so I miss those days when people actually write blogs, because they give you all the step by step, and they tell you why it's working, why it's not. Yeah, so it's actually, you learn a lot from reading a blog.
Well, let's go back. So you went to classes to learn how to bake, and cakes in particular.
It's more, I think I take classes for cake decorating, because I like to make those little figurines and stuff like that. And so I took a couple of courses, and now technology is just so advanced. Like, people post all the tutorial on YouTube, and I remember when I first started, you literally had to make everything with your hand. But now there's so many tools available. Like, as long as you have the right tools, you pretty much can make a quite beautiful cake.
But it must be, Froggy, it must be so rewarding, you know, like sort of rolling something out and making little figures. You know, like over your shoulder is, there's a Qantas aeroplane, you know, like, and you've got the ocean, flying over the ocean, and you know, like, it's so much fun, and so much, you know, like, there's even a ticket there. You've even got the ticket on the side. So, you know, like, it's, your imagination can run wild, and that's where I'm coming from. It's a real art form, isn't it?
So nowadays, when people approach me with a cake design, generally people will find something online and something that they like. But I will always say to people, we can do something that is unique, is more you. So in my mind, I normally have an image that, like, you know, after speak to the person, that, okay, I kind of learn about his personality, or the party, they have a theme. So I come up with a few ideas, I stretch it out, I say, look, maybe we should go this direction. I think from what you're scratching out and make it to the reality is rewarding, because you just see what you have in mind, and then into this eatable art, like people want to call it eatable art. That is really rewarding.
So how do you, you know, like, first show the, you know, like, say I'm the person that's come to you and say, I want an aeroplane. You know, do you draw it? Is that how you do it, and then show me a drawing, or? So
I will do some research. For me, I really inspire with other people, other baker, because I think there's so many talented baker out there all over the world. Like,
absolutely.
Like
well, there's TV shows and everything, isn't
there? That's right. So I normally will collect a selection of things that I like and I'm capable to do, and I will say to the customer that, like, if those are the selection, that maybe we can go into the direction and create something that is belong to you. So this is how I normally approach with people. And again, people will say, oh, this is a bit too over the top. We want something a bit, you know, like a bit toned down.
And you go, oh, damn, I really want to do that.
Sometimes I do feel like that, because I was like, oh, I really want to do something different this time, you know. But I also have customer that is just like, we trust your instinct, you know,
Yep.
we trust your design, we
Yep.
trust your art form, and just go for it.
Yep.
And I love them.
That must be so rewarding.
Yeah, it is.
And also, Froggy, seeing the look on their face when they first see it, that must be so rewarding as well.
Yeah. I like to review when I deliver a cake. I normally would say, do you want to have a look? Because I think that is the first reaction they see it, instead of just put it back to the fridge and see it on the day. And I get to have a chat with them as well, so they would be like, this is exactly what we wanted, it's so beautiful. And I think that is really, after days of baking and making it, it's really definitely worth it.
Yeah.
And people tend to leave a really nice comment or send me a message after saying, you know, thank you.
Everyone loved it that
Yeah.
came to the wedding or birthday or, yeah.
Yeah.
How long, you know, let's talk about a wedding cake, say a 3-tier wedding cake.
Yep.
How long would it take you to, well, you've got to bake the cake.
Yeah.
What usually is a wedding cake base these days, the actual cake? What is it?
So, well, chocolate mud cake is very popular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
So not the fruit cake anymore, remember?
There is, but the younger generation tend to not like fruit cake that much.
Yeah.
But they normally were including on the top tier, which is a smaller size.
Yep.
And before I came to Australia, I never know about this thing about people actually keep their cake for a year and celebrate the anniversary.
And that's why it's got to be the fruit cake,
Yeah.
because that will keep.
They will keep for a year in the freezer.
Yeah.
So red velvet is very popular at the moment. Like I think it's the flavor is a bit more romantic, and it's red as well. People
And
like
yeah,
it
because when you cut it, the slice comes out and you go, ooh.
yeah, exactly. So and white chocolate angel, which is white because, you know, wedding cakes, they would like it to be white. So those are the flavor very popular.
And have you perfected the actual flavours of the cake itself? Are you happy, you know, like, do people tell you that they like the taste of your baking skill?
I think so far no one complained about the cake,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Because
that's an important part of it, isn't it? The taste.
Yeah, it is, because I'm not serving just the bride and groom. I'm serving the whole guest. So I always like, oh my God, I hope it go well, so everybody love the cake, because it is that, it's the special day for them, as you know, and it's the whole family and friends celebration, and you want to make sure everything is perfect, from top to bottom, literally.
So you bake the cake. How far in advance before you start to decorate it?
So I normally would spend a day bake all the bases, and then so I think a lot of people don't understand that cake needs to be cooled down before you decorate.
Because it would all melt, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think people just like, that's why I said patience is very important. They just like, the cake is still warm, they pour their icing and buttercream, and then it just looks like a disaster. So you do need to cool down your cake at least for 3 to 4 hours before you actually decorate.
Oh, I thought it might be 24 hours or something.
I like to do it 24 hours, just because it's gonna be completely cooled down. And then second day, I would do the icing, like the filling as well, because sometimes people want like lemon curds in the filling, not always buttercream. So I would do the filling the second day and then put in the fridge for cool down for another day. And then third day will be my decorating day.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the basis of most cakes? Is it marzipan or is it more icing sugar?
Yeah, so I use a lot of fondant for icing called fondant. They are like marzipan, but they made out of sugar as well. So, sorry. I use that a lot for weddings because the color are more consistency, but also based on season as well. For example, that I would never do buttercream on summer. Never. Even, I'll try to convince my client I can't do it. Not because I don't want to do it, just because I don't want during the delivery and the cake melting. So fondant, I use it a lot during summer. I do use a lot of buttercream during winter because I know they're gonna stay for me all the time. So the season and the humidity as well. It's really tricky.
The science of it all, isn't it? You know, like
Yeah.
there's a real science to knowing what to do and why and how. But what about all the little figurines? Like I had a big celebration a couple of years ago, and I said to my friends at the radio station, you know, like they said, what do you want for your present? And I went, oh, I don't want a present. I said, oh, but what about a cake? And they went to you. I didn't know, and I didn't know what design they were going to make. And I've got this fetish about snow domes and garden gnomes and all that. And you created, and I hope we can find a photo of it. You've got it, that I might still have it, of this cake. I was blown away with all the detail inside of it. How long did that one take you to make?
So figurines generally take me a few days to make them, just because it takes days to dry before I can put it on the top of the cake.
Yep.
So if someone comes to me and have a figurine, I probably would make the figurine a week in advance. So I know nothing goes wrong. They stick together, they're firm. I can place it like an ornament, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So when it comes to figurines, it generally take longer than usual. So for your cake, the figurine was made a week before.
A week before, wow.
Yeah, and then again, same process as what I do with the wedding cake, I do your cake base as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So with that one, there was so much detail going on inside of the dome, and you had a sort of like a glass plastic dome over the top of it, like a snow dome. You know, like, it must have been, you know, the real creative side of it would have come to you when you were placing it all, because it was a real art form within this cake.
So when your colleagues come to me, they literally give me a list of 10 things that you love. I remember that. They literally write down 10 things that you love, like disco, you like vinyl, you like the vinyl,
yep.
You like the snow dome, and you like the little gnome. So, and I made literally 10 of them all and trying to put them together so they don't look so odd. So I remember I had the rainbow with the vinyl in there, and have the disco ball around it, and then have the gnome and other bits and pieces. I can't remember, but I tried to put it all together that, you know, they kind of belong together, and it's very you as well. So yeah, it was fun to make them because it is a long list.
and that's what I was going to ask you. You know, like, are you stimulated by that? You know, like your creative juices coming out. You know, like, did you really enjoy doing that cake?
I do. I definitely do. Because you don't get to make a snowball for birthday every year, you know. It probably once a while.
Or once in a blue moon,
yeah,
say. But then the wedding cakes, you know, like some of the ones that you do are true, you know, like forms of art, and that's when all of a sudden I just saw it on social media, and I thought, this is an art form. And even to the extent now that there was one that you did that there was one of the layers was there was no cake.
Yeah.
It was
acrylic.
Yeah. And I thought, how clever. And then all, you know, like roses and or you wrapped it in something else. Just so creative. You know, like sitting there thinking about it must be a real challenge for you sometimes.
Yeah, so the thing with cake decorating, you really have to follow what is news all the time.
Yep.
Because literally, I think same as other industry, or every skill, you're trying to like improve your skill every single time. You're trying to think of something that, you know, is beautiful, but is someone never seen it before. And with that cake you talk about, it's quite popular now because people, like you say, it's just transparent. You see like the cake is floating itself, the top tier. And I think whoever invented that is actually quite clever because you kind of reduce the cake waste. You know, you still have these beautiful 4 tiers with the acrylic in the second tier. And you have enough cake for everybody, but you still get a very stunning cake.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not just beautiful, it's practical, and they definitely have a wow factor, and the cake is delicious. So it's kind of spot on every single.
Yeah.
angle that you want for a wedding cake.
Yeah, but then there's also a situation where I've noticed on your Instagram as well, is that you make individual ones, because that's popular as well now.
Yeah.
So that everyone just gets a cupcake and with the logo of, or like the names of the people that just got married on it.
Yeah, it definitely become very popular after COVID. I think, because especially after COVID, we have this social distancing. Instead of sharing cakes and stuff like that, and people just thought we're gonna do cupcakes because no one touching each other's hands. You just grab the cupcake and go. So it's definitely become more popular after COVID. But cupcakes been on, it's been on the cake industry for what, 100 years. So it's come and go, but now definitely there's a lot different design, and people try to make it more interesting as well. And it's definitely a very popular wedding dessert as well, because instead of having a vegan or gluten-free cake in one tier, people say we're just gonna do cupcakes, so they accommodate all the guests as well. So is very practical for the wedding as well, 100%.
Has there been, like when somebody comes to you and they say, I want, a squeeze bottle of sauce coming out over it, chips and pie or something like that, and you go, how am I going to make this? Has there been times where you've gone, this is so difficult, I don't know where to start or how to do it?
No, not really. I think every time when someone comes up to me, quite challenging, and I actually love it, because I think probably part of my engineering skill as well. I have these things that, okay, how am I gonna make this thing fly in the sky? Like defying gravity. We call it defying gravity cake. Like how I make the ketchup bottles that is dripping. So you just start thinking about structure, and go to Bunnings and grab things and start building, and then make sure that there's the cake separate from the wood as well. Like you want to make sure it's food safe. So it is a lot of planning before you actually build the cake, just to make sure it works. But it's always so much fun though. Like the result coming out, even myself was like, I think I did pretty good.
Brilliant. Well, you do. You do. Great work. There's over your shoulder, you're with a whole lot of kids. Do you like teaching, like kids how to bake? Is that fun?
Yeah. So that is actually one of my friends' daughter's birthday, and she come up with the idea, say, why don't you just come in and just teach the kids how to make meringue, little meringue, and so they actually rainbow colors. And it was really fun. The kitchen is beautiful, so I'm happy to be in there.
I thought it was an industrial kitchen at somebody's house.
It's somebody's house, and it was a fun afternoon. I definitely enjoy it, and that is what I'm gonna do in the future with my studio as well. I want to share my skill with people who love baking. So you'll do classes for both kids and adults as well? So there will be advanced classes, and they also have like kid classes, so they can do little cupcakes or teddy bear figurines, something that is manageable for kids. So I do love to share recipe with people if someone wants recipe. So feel free to ask me any question. I always say to my customers, if you do ever want to bake a cake, just ask me. So I think I like to share some of my skill to the public in the future.
Now you mentioned the studio, so you've opened a studio where that's where you bake the cakes and decorate them, but people can come in and buy bits and pieces, but it's not a cafe per se, it's more your studio, so people can see what you do firsthand instead of looking at it on social media. That's a big step to actually open like your own studio.
So I have a commercial kitchen before this studio, and it was really small, but it's enough for me to do anything that I would like to do in there. So this year I have opportunity that come across that open this studio, and I just in the back of my mind, it's like if I don't do it this year, I will never do it. Like so.
But a big financial move, Froggy. You know, like is it scary?
It is. It is. I think when I told my close friends that I'm going to do this, I think everybody just said to me, "Are you sure?" Because the economy is really bad. But I have this urge that if I don't know what is it, but this year I have this urge that if I don't do it, I will just never do it.
Yep.
And plus, it's also allowed me to have more space to create things that I want to do in different projects, like running the class, and yeah. So I think it is scary. But I think we all need to take a risk, I guess, yeah.
Well, what happens if you're in the middle of, like rolling something out and doing it and somebody walks in? What have you got somebody else working with you?
At the moment, just me, and sometimes a couple of people come in, a couple of friends, baker, I call them, come and help me when I'm busy.
Yep.
You are right about that, people walking. So we just opened, this is our 4th week. I'm just trying to get a routine about how I'm gonna manage my time better, because, I stop and have a chat with the people, and I come back, I was like, oh, I've totally forget about what I'm doing. So definitely my time management has to improve.
Right.
But it's just so lovely, all the local people, because I actually, renovate the space myself with some help as well. And the local been seeing me building from scratch, like I read everything up and, paint the whole building, and
wow.
So they've been.
So you're doing that while you're still making cakes for people's birthdays, weddings, or anniversaries.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's.
Are you exhausted?
That past 4 months, definitely. I don't think I ever slept because it's just so much work to do.
And has it been, since you've opened the studio, have you think, yes, I've made the right decision?
Definitely. I'm still enjoying it. I think that is a good start.
Yep.
And people have been really lovely. I think that is the part that when people come in and compliment, because I have those cake display, those wedding cake display, I do it for Bridal magazine.
Yep.
So I finally can show them to the
flesh. Yeah.
Yeah. So and people just like really, impressed.
Where is it?
So in Preston, literally next to Preston Market. So
oh, okay.
the Preston Market, the Preston train station, I'm literally on the other side.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
And is it the name that we all know?
It's What Froggy Bakes.
Right, okay.
The address is 333 Maury Road, Preston.
Right, okay.
So at the moment, I only open to public Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Oh, right. So that gives you the time to bake the rest of the time.
So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I only do appointment only.
Yep.
I've been telling people it's a cake studio, it's not a cake shop. So I don't see a point for me to open 5 days a week.
Yep.
And generally people want a cake on the weekend. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday is, I think it's...
And they can come and pick up if they want to as well. Froggy, I think you're a true artist with what you do. There are so many other little questions I could ask you, but we're running out of time. But congratulations on following your dream to be a cake decorator, cake artist. I think it's wonderful. And now with the studio, good on you.
Thank you, David. Thank you. I appreciate that. It does mean a lot.
Well, my pleasure, because you're a true artist. So thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Yep, Froggy, he's amazing. You've got to go online and check him out. It's What Froggy Bakes. Incredible. If you live over in Preston, go and check it out. I might have to go over there and check it out one day, but only on weekends, of course. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I'm David Hunt. Of course, we're back again next week. See ya.